this one. Hi, it's Ellen at Yarn Doc. I am here with a yarn review from a Temu yarn. This yarn actually has a name, not like the brand name, but the almost series name. It is called a cloud ball. And it's big. It's the size of my head. But they have some really pretty colorways, and so I was curious, and I thought, okay, let's take a look. It's in the bag because there is a little bit of information on the bag, and I don't know if it is on the ball tag, and a lot of what's on the ball tag seems to be in Chinese. So at least I think that's Chinese. If I've gotten it wrong and you know, tell me, because I don't want to say the wrong things. But okay, so it's according to the bag, it's 44 acrylic, 18% wool, and 38% cotton. Okay. And that's really the only information on the bag. Okay, so this is a chain spun yarn. You see the chain there? It's like a little mesh. And usually chain yarns are great because they don't split. Because it's done as a chain and not woven, especially like an S weave, which is really bad for crocheters, right-handed crocheters. I've heard that it's not a problem for left-handed crocheters. With chain yarns, you really shouldn't be able to split the yarn with your hook. So that is a nice thing. It's definitely soft. What kind of soft? Not cozy soft, like not like teddy bear soft, or but it's also not silky soft. It's kind of like flannel soft. Oh, I wish we had better terms for soft. You know, the whole range of soft. We need some kind of scale that communicates. It's not in great shape. Like things from Temu, they come shoved in a bag, no matter what they are. And so they do tend to look a little worse for wear. He was pretty flat, and the band is just coming apart everywhere. There is a color, this one YTLL, but I don't think that was the color on the listing, which I will put up so you know which one I bought from. Saying around circa 458 meters. 458 meters. When I see numbers like that, I always just I want to measure. Say, are you sure it's not 457? 459? I just, when you see something that's not, you know, like at a 10 or a 5 or these sort of standard expectations, I just want to, oh, but if it was made in China, the 8 is a lucky number. I wonder if that's, the 4 is too, so 458. I wonder if that has something to do with, anybody out there know? Am I onto something, or am I just making stuff up? It says it's 200 grams. I'm going to weigh it before I do the samples so that you can see the scale. Because right now you're looking at me. Hi. Sorry. I think I've had too much caffeine today. Let's see. What did the bag say? The bag... Yes, the bag and the band agree. 38% cotton, 18% wool, 44 says pilling acrylic. I wonder if it's supposed to be anti-pilling. Or maybe they're telling you, hey, be careful with it, because it does say no. It says hand wash, lie flat. So maybe it's saying if you put this in the washer and dryer, it's gonna pill. That would be honest. I'm gonna throw a sample in the washer and dryer anyway, because that's what I do. I like to know what will happen, because I do most of the laundry in the house, but every now and then my husband, who is wonderful, will say, okay, it's piling up, especially like on a Saturday morning when he's like, oh, let her stay in bed for a little bit. I will throw a load in, and then he'll, move what's in the washer into the dryer. And he doesn't always know what needs to be hung to dry. And so I've had a few mishaps with that. So I always want to know, can it go in the washer and dryer, even if I don't intend to put it in? So I'm sure you want that information too. Especially if you're going to make something with 200 grams of yarn, that's going to take you hours. And so it's best to have the information. Speaking of making, it's recommending needle size of 4 to 5 millimeters and crochet hook size of 3.5 to 4.5 millimeters. That seems small to me for what is a good worsted weight yarn. I mean, that fits, I think, into that 4 category. I want to make a nice beachy shawl with it. It just seemed to be such beach colors. And actually, I forgot I bought this one. And I bought a second one on my next order in the exact same colorway with the exact same thought. So I will definitely have enough to do samples and make my shawl. But I just thought, and now that I am holding it in my hands and I see it, there is actually a little bit of purple. It's not even really, it's really not getting picked up on camera. But this is actually like a very pale purple, but not lavender. Like, it's really purple. It's just really light. You can see it again here. And it's like that color on the inside of a seashell. You know, that almost iridescent little bit of purple that comes through. So I think it's even better for my beach shawl when I see that. But it's got the sand color and the blue of the water, and so far I'm pretty pleased with this. It feels good. It feels like what they say it is. I feel like I can feel all 3 of those things in here, but like in a very pleasant combination. So I'm going to get to work, and I will be back to tell you more about the cloud ball. It's a good name too, because it does feel a little cloudy. I'm doing the yarn hands, I'm sorry. But that's a good sign, I think. When I'm making yarn hands at a ball of yarn, or the world's largest donut of yarn, that's a good sign. Okay, so the first thing I have to do with this yarn is correct myself. It is not a chain spun yarn. It is a blown yarn, but the mesh, blown yarns are just a mesh. In this case, I think it's a cotton mesh, and they blow the fibers into the tube. So you can see there, am I in the camera? You can see there that the mesh, and then they blow the fibers into the tube. So you actually get a little bit of a fuzzy texture from that, which makes it, maybe you can see the halo on the edge of that from those blown fibers that sort of peek through then that mesh tube. So I apologize for that. It was just, it's because it's not overly filled. that I didn't notice right away, but as soon as I started working with it, it became clear. And I think because it is a very sort of wide mesh on there, and it's not overly filled, that every now and then my hook did find one of those mesh holes and slip through it. And so got a little bit more snags, these kind of things, that just frogged it out and moved on. I find myself not wanting to say anything negative about this yarn because I liked it so much. And I realized that I didn't weigh this before I started, and I've been finding lately in the Temu yarn reviews that I've done, they have not been the weight that they said they would be. So this is supposed to be 200 grams. I'll put it on. And I will also put these sample pieces on. I don't know. I like this yarn so much. And I think maybe it's the colorway and how that was coming up. It just, you know, we're going into summer. We finally have a hot day. And I was, you know, crocheting yarn that supposedly has wool in it. 38% cotton, 18% wool, 44 pilling acrylic. And I really think they must mean non-pilling acrylic, but unless they're just being very, very honest with us. And so I don't know if it was just like, as the colors were coming out, it was making me think of the beach and seashells, but I don't know. I just really liked it. I found it easy to work with. I wasn't working with my favorite hooks because I was testing out some hooks that I bought to review, and I still liked it, and I wasn't crazy about the hooks. So yeah, so far. So we're at 10 centimeters. They should all be the same. All done at the same time with the same hook and the same number of rounds. So we've got 10 centimeters. I will leave this one out, put that one in the washer, that one in the washer and dryer, and we'll see what happens to them. Let's see here. So here I've done my little stitch sample. Started with singles, moved into half doubles, into doubles, trebles, a row of singles to give a foundation to the baubles, and then a row of singles to finish it off. Not perfect stitch definition, but I've certainly seen worse. Seen worse today, in fact. But yeah, it just gives it that really beachy look, colorway. So let's see how it does frogging. This has sat for a little while. Yeah, this is from the fuzz of fibers in the blown yarn. Come on. Yeah, this is the true test of a frog. Baubles and having sat with a fuzzy fiber. That's what it is that fuzz. There you could see a snag where my hook caught the... So if you were doing something with a fairly open texture, you can really see with the blue there, that fiber has been blown into this white mesh tube. And there my hook caught the tube. So, oh, come on. Yeah. Now you can, come on now. It's like trying to get the dogs to do something. Come on. You can do it. Yeah, not gonna frog easily, so go slow, and if you make a mistake, find it quickly. That would be my advice. Find it quickly, pull it out gently. There we go. Come on. I will say, feeling it and working with it, I really don't doubt that the makeup of it. You know, it seems pretty accurate. 38% cotton, 18% wool, 44% pilling acrylic. That's the only thing I have a real question mark about. Oh, doesn't like the foundation row. Not at all. Okay. Yeah, I thought maybe if I pulled hard it would break, and it does, though I did use quite a substantial amount of force on it. But that, you can see, it just is totally a knot there. So that's that. I'm going to go wash and dry these. I might burn it just for fun, just to see what happens. But with that much acrylic, it's going to be very hard to tell if it has wool in it. Because it kind of has all three categories if the description is accurate. So that makes the burn test a little bit of a challenge, but let's do it anyway. Why not, huh? So I don't really know what we can expect to see here, because it claims to be a wool, cotton, acrylic blend, and that would be everything. Like wool burns with a gray flame, cotton burns with a white flame, acrylic burns with a black flame, our ash will look different. So I'm not really sure this is going to tell us anything, but I'm actually, having felt it and worked with it, and yeah, I'm really not skeptical about that blend, but let's burn something just for the sake of burning it, huh? There we're getting the acrylic, which is the highest percentage of. But yeah, we're also getting like this wool part would do that. And I do even have some gray ash, which is what we would get from the cotton. So very difficult to tell with this blend, but I think we are seeing characteristics of all three of those elements in there. And so I think this one is what it claims to be. Well, my friends, I think it is clear that if you don't want it to shrink, you will not put this yarn in the dryer. It's almost a full row here of difference that we have. The one from the washer here looks pretty good. Looks almost, how did that get there? Looks almost like new. This one was sitting on my desk, and I guess it got a bit of scrap paper. So I always pull it out on the inches side. So yeah, we were at 10. Maybe we've lost a little bit there. It looks like 9.5. Looking at it, it doesn't look like it. And here we're down to what, maybe 8.5. So quite a bit of difference between the original size and the post-dryer size. And this one that was just washer and then laid flat was dry in about the same amount of time the dryer took. You can also see that the dryer has taken away some of the stitch definition and gotten a little puffier. I kind of like the way it looks myself, but I also really like the good stitch definition on the unwashed, undried one. So again, it's going to depend on what it is that you're making. If this end result is acceptable to you, then you can throw it in the washer and the dryer. If you need it to stay looking like this, whoops, oh, you got caught on my ring. Then it's probably just the washer. You have lost a little tiny bit of stitch definition from the washer. It's retained some of the moisture. You can see here how clear these stitch posts are as opposed to here. But this one still looks like new. So it could also be where there is more of the fibers blown in, but all of the posts here look nice and clear and clean, whereas only some of them still have that good stitch definition on here. It seems to be more the very light color that puffed up, or the going into the purple. Yeah, so those are the results of the test. I will come back to you and discuss my overall thoughts about this yarn. So I just did a quick little knit sample just so that I could show you what it looks like. This is just garter stitch. It's not great, I know. My knitting's still at its very basic stages and I don't know what's going on here. I found it myself challenging. I kept, I don't know, getting the mesh of the chain mesh that the fibers are blown into. I kept getting it caught, my needles in the wrong points, and so I would have stitches that were like really tight and hard to work with, or sort of like caught in the other row almost. I don't even know how to talk about it yet. And over here, like you can see, I got it caught and it ended up with a snag. And on this side is the bad side, I guess. Okay, I'll just show you this side. But what I'm actually doing is trying to show you the yarn and give you a sense of what it would look like worked up in a knit stitch. And so, yeah, it was not easy for me. I'm trying to turn my double pointeds into actually usable knitting needles. But I just thought that would be helpful to see sort of how the colorway in that worked up and what it would look like knit as opposed to crocheted. So I'm about ready to tie on the second ball. I've got it all caked up because I find donut skeins very difficult to work from. So caked it up. But I want to tie in my ends before I tie on a new one, and I have a lot of them. First half of the ball, no factory knots, but each of these represents a factory knot I cut out. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think there's at least one more. 6. That's the remains of the ball there. 7. 7 factory knots in the last half of that ball. 7. 7. That's going to affect my review. I mean, I understand factory knots, but industry standard is 2 to 3 is the maximum. 7. I have some ends to weave in. Gonna go weave them in. Tie on the second ball. Yeah. Disappointed. Disappointed. It's finished. Now I can take it to the beach with me when I go on vacation in Croatia, which is what I wanted it for. From the moment I saw this yarn in person, I knew that's what I wanted to make with it. And I actually had filmed this outro before I made the shawl. I was so certain about how I felt about it. And it's a shame that I can't use that because I was all done up. I had my makeup done. I was going somewhere, so my hair and my makeup were done. I had on a nice dress, and yeah. Instead you get, regular weekday look me. But I felt like I couldn't say what I had said after I'd worked a full project and after I'd knit with it, because I felt like I had to reassess. I personally really like this yarn, and I think because I really like it, I'm willing to overlook some of its shortcomings. And so initially I had given this yarn an A+, and really expected that there wasn't much that could happen that would change my mind about that. And for me, I still think of it as like a high A yarn, but those factory knots, I mean, there were, in the first ball, there were 7, only in the second half. And in the second ball, I had a little bit left because I didn't want to be playing really bad yarn chicken at the end. And I didn't think, it's a 2-row repeat, I didn't think I could do another 2 rows and then still have enough for the border. And I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. But just at the end, so like in the border itself, I ended up with the finishing knots, and I should have written it down. I think there were 2 factory knots in that. And then in that last little bit that was left over, 3 more knots. Like just at the very end of the skein. What's up with that? Like, I don't know what it is about like the ends of these things. If they're putting them out in a weight that their machines can't justify or accommodate, or that the reason these are on here as inexpensively as they are is because they're kind of like factory seconds. I don't know. So that takes the plus off the A for me. And then working with it for longer than a couple of granny squares, it does split. It was splitting on my hook, but I think I'm just really used to sort of dealing with that. So I wasn't noticing it as much, or it wasn't bothering me. It wasn't splitting like, say, a bamboo splits, infamously. But then when I was knitting with it, I'm like, oh, this is driving me crazy. I think I knit really tightly. Like, do you have to sort of force your needle into your stitches? I do. My hands are really sore after a few rows. So I think maybe I'm just knitting too tightly, but I was constantly getting my needle in what are fairly large holes in this chain that the fibers are blown into. It is a very, very loose weave on that chain. And so there are relatively large holes that are very easy for a needle or a hook to slip into and get caught and snag. And I think with the crochet hook, I'm just experienced enough to sort of recognize it's happening as it's happening and sort of slowly back up and go again. And I was also using a fairly large size hook for the yarn on when I was crocheting, as opposed to, I think I was using probably the right size needles. I think I was using 5mm needles with it when I was knitting, and that's probably about the right size from what I'm learning. It might even be what was recommended. I can't remember, I'm sorry. But so it was a lot tighter, and so easier to slip into those holes in the chain. However, it is very pretty yarn. They have quite a few colorways available. I think if you're into very bright colors, maybe not as much for you there. Or if you are into maybe like the sort of autumnal colors, there's not as much there. But there is a good selection. There's some moody colors. There's the beachy colors. There's greens and yellows, and so a fairly good option. They're all variegated like this, or not quite ombre, but various versions of something like this. So that if you were working them, say, in stockinette, they'd stripe for you. It washes and blocks and even dries well. It's comfy and cozy, and I'm really, really happy with my shawl. Will I buy it again? I did today. I bought it in green. So I still give this a high rating. I'm still giving this an A-, but I no longer feel that I can give it an A+. The A+ was more about my preferences and my just enjoyment of the yarn and the feel of the yarn and the look of the yarn, and that than it was about really truly evaluating it according to the tests that I had done. And so I'm redoing this outro in a little bit more me. But this is the me you're used to seeing. So there is that element to it. But I still really like this yarn, and I am looking forward to working with it again. But I can't give it that A+, but I can give it an A-. I think an A- is fair. I think it is a good value for money. Today I paid just under €8 for 200 grams of a cotton wool acrylic blend. And I am happy with that. And yeah, would I recommend this yarn? Yes. A-. So what do you think? Would you buy this yarn? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you think I'm still being biased. But if you enjoyed the review or found it helpful, I would really appreciate a subscribe and a thumbs up. That helps the channel just about more than anything else can. And I want to keep doing these things. So the healthier the channel is, the more reviews I can do. And yeah, that's it for this week. I enjoyed it. Temu, cloud ball. I always want to call it a cloud cake. It's not a cloud cake. It's a cloud ball. Anyway, I will see you next week, I hope. And happy stitching in the meantime.